Hey everyone, Prof Sales trying to do another live vlog hangout. So hopefully this will work a little better than yesterday. Yesterday I couldn't get the chat feature up because I went through it through Google Hangouts. Hey everyone, Prof Sales trying to do another. Close that down. The chat room I believe is up. So let me know if you can get in and see that. It'll take a few moments probably to populate. I'm going to type a little message there. If you have questions as we go, please feel free to leave them there. I'll be glad to answer any questions that I can over in the chat. And hopefully this will work a little better than yesterday. Technology, you gotta love it. Let me just move this this over a little bit so I can see you guys. All right, that's a little better. And oops, let's do it that way. Okay. Hello, Karin. So good to see you again. I actually just got a brand new microphone. So I'm curious to see what the sound quality will be like. Please let me know, Karin, if you can hear it. Let me know. It looks like some other people just are filtering in. If you can hear me okay, hopefully this mic is, it's actually called a Ice Snowball mic. It's supposed to be really good. There's been, I know Chad, the Golden Finger Picker, uses one sort of like this, and it seems to work really well. I've got it set up, but obviously it's my first day using it, so we'll see how it goes. So let me know how the sound quality is when you get a chance. Looks like we got a few viewers now, about 7 people viewing. Hope you guys are having a great Friday. Greener Pasture says it sounds good. Oh, well, that's great. That's good to hear. It's supposed to be a great mic, so I'm gonna move it just a little closer to me. It's kind of tricky, to figure out where to put the mic and your mouse and your keyboard. It's like, man. Dustin says sounds decent. All right, decent's good, right, Dustin? Hey guys, how are you? Hope you guys are having a great Friday. The weekend is upon us. For all of those people who work 8 to 5 Monday through Friday, it's a time of rest. But for all you guys, the resellers, it is not a time of rest, right? It's time to get out there and hit the bricks, find those yard sales, estate sales, garage sales, maybe doing thrift stores and retail arbitrage opportunities. So, that's kind of my plan for tomorrow. I plan to hit at least any yard sales are around. There actually aren't a lot around me lately. It's just, I think the weather's been so hot and people are just, I think they're just over it. I mean, you get out and by like 9:30, it's just hot. So it's definitely dampened the yard sale mood. And I guess, yard sale season has an ebb and flow. Someone had wanted me to do a yard sale video for strategy for that. And I do have that on my agenda, but I need to put a little more thought into that before I get that going. But I definitely plan on doing a video on yard sales and what my strategy is. Maybe guys will, maybe you can get something from it, but there's not a right or wrong answer, I think, to yard sales. There's different ways to do it. Nobody has a perfect system and you never know what you're going to find. There's just no way really to tell. So I tend to look for ones that are a little bit closer to me, try to map out a route, beforehand, or at least have an idea about, in general, I'm going to go up and down these streets in this area of town and, see what you can find. Obviously, the more of them you can hit, the better. So you can hit the community sales and so on. You're going to find more items. Just mathematically speaking, the more you go to, the more you're going to find. What else is going on? Finished up my eBay shipments this morning. eBay's been pretty steady lately. Can't complain. Amazon has also been really good. I've been really happy and been lucky. The last 2 weeks on Amazon have been, $1,000 plus weeks, which is always nice. Get that capital back and working for me. I think they just dispersed yesterday. So I've been really happy with Amazon sales. I'm definitely seeing, Amazon is like a delay. You see, like you send it in and then it starts selling over the next, I don't know, 2, 3, 4, 5 days, maybe a week. So it definitely takes a little while to get those sales in the pipeline. But once it does, it just kind of keeps rolling. I know some of you guys are eBay sellers, as am I, and you probably don't like the whole, I got to wait 2 weeks for my money. But I find in a way, it kind of helps you plan your sourcing a little better, strangely enough. And if you want money out of PayPal too, you still got to transfer it every once in a while, and that takes a day or two at least. So it's not that different, but I try not to spend too much time transferring the money, try to do it maybe twice a month and just sort of plan accordingly, almost like you're getting paid for a job every 2 weeks. Lots of jobs pay you every 2 weeks. You could set up your money coming back to you from Amazon or from eBay for every 2 weeks as well. Anyway, that's how I do it. You may do it differently. Got some jeans still to list. Obviously, the amount I found yesterday was really good. I think that was yesterday. 27 pair in one store. It's always great. And still got to get those listed. Excuse me. A little congested today for some reason. But I definitely want to space those out. That's one thing, I think is important with eBay. We've talked about that before. Maybe it's like, I like to space out my listings. I don't want to list all of them today. I mean, I could, but I just look at it like when you space out listings like that, it kind of keeps your listings fresh. It keeps you in that mindset of doing something every day. And, we don't know if eBay's search engine, we think it gives you a bounce when you list every day. So anyway, speak of the devil, there's Chad. I'm busy working and got notification. What's up? What's up with you, Chad? Hopefully you have a topic for tonight, Chad. I know you and I were talking about that earlier. So I want to see a topic out of you, sir, before the end of the afternoon. But yeah, Chad, the Golden Finger Picker, he has a huge channel here on YouTube, and he finds all kinds of cool stuff to buy and sell. If you haven't checked out his channel, you should. You can find it under my subscriptions on my channel. And Chad's a great guy. He's really been gracious towards me with his time and his energy. And so he's an all-around good guy. And hopefully you guys get a chance, check out the Golden Finger Picker. And you'll probably see some Selena stuff. Just a wild guess. If you don't know about Chad and Selena, you will after you watch Chad. But excuse me. But yeah, so going back to what we were discussing, yeah, just list every day if you can. Keep your listings rolling. There's no reason to list them all in one day and then don't list for a few days. It's nice to kind of have some listings every day. If that in fact is how eBay search engine pushes you up in the search rankings and so on, why not do it? It can't hurt. There's no reason not to do it. It's, it takes the same amount of time to list 20 listings, whether you do it today or you spread those out over 2 days. Doesn't matter. You can set a set number if you want. I don't really always do it that way. I usually set a minimum number and say, I'm going to minimum list 10 items maybe, but I don't really say I've got to do exactly this number. I do have a listing goal I want to get to by the end of the month, which is, let me make sure I get this right. I want to be at 680 by the end of the month on eBay. And as you can see, I still have a ways to go. These are my binder clips that represent how many listings I've got left to do. It's a struggle, I'm going to tell you right now. But I've definitely been working towards it. I'm definitely going to keep pushing to get more listings up. The more listings you have up, the more you're going to sell. I mean, That's just such common sense math. I don't even know why people argue that anymore. I mean, you know, you can definitely list less things and make more profit on them and maybe get the same results. And that's cool too, if you're able to source that way. But if you're sourcing in volume, then you need to really be thinking about listing in volume too. Let's see who's here in the chat. Paul Bear says Chad's demand. Yes, he is. Yes, I agree. I'm trying to do that, but I don't like to do it. I should list. Set a goal, Paul. Set a goal. Set a minimum goal. Fun Stuff 24 says hello. Hey, Fun Stuff. I've seen your comments in the on the videos, so thank you for those. Also, guys, don't forget the 1,000th subscriber contest will soon be coming to an end. Let's see where we're at. Let me make sure. We're pretty close, but I'm at 985. So 15 to go if I can learn to count today. 15 subscribers to go, guys. Please help me out with that. Share my videos. Maybe somebody that hasn't seen them before. Maybe someone else you know is a reseller. I love building this community we're building here at Prof Sales, and I hope you guys will continue to be part of it. I mean, the comments and the interaction with you guys is what drives me. I mean, it does. I mean, because, you know, I have a teacher's soul. I have a teaching background. It's always been a part of who I am, I think, deep down. And now I'm able to do it here on YouTube in a way that I can reach way more people than I ever could reach in just a classroom. So please help out with that. Please share videos, and let's get to that 1,000th. And we're going to have two winners for some free coaching time. So can't beat that. That is what it's all about. Yes, you are right, Chad. I learned that from you, sir, you and Ronnie and some other people. Fun Stuff says, what did you teach? Nothing controversial, just politics. No, but yeah, I did teach political science, international relations, and so on at a local college. So it's a lot of fun. Always lots to talk about, always lots of opinions and people. But, you know, my thing when I was a professor was to try to get people to think about why they believed what they believe instead of just being a robot and repeating what they heard someone else say. And, you know, I think I had some success at that, hopefully, but it's tremendous. I love teaching. And if I could do it and earn a great living at it, I would probably still do it. But this is how I'm doing it now. So just doing it with a slightly different subject. Paul says, thanks for the videos. I love this community. The few that I watch, I learn a lot from. Enjoy. Cool. That is cool. That's the idea. Fun Stuff says, way different than what I was expecting. Yeah. I know, right? Maybe you would have thought maybe business something. I don't know. But no, the business part came along later. But, you know, it's just a lot of fun to teach, in my opinion. But I know these vlogs are middle of the day, so we're never going to have huge turnouts on them, which is okay. I don't have any problem with that. They're just a little bit easier to do than shooting a video and editing and so on. I cut up that step, so it actually makes it a little bit quicker to do the video. And, you know, that's probably good for me, good for you. Get a little more content out there. Maybe it's a little more scatterbrained, I guess, or scattered around, maybe, hopefully, maybe not scatterbrained. What else is going on? So middle of the month. So have you guys, if you haven't created goals for each of your months, you need to think about doing that. Get your goals together. And this is the middle of the month, so you should be thinking about, can I reach my goal here by the end of the month? If you take what you've done so far and double it, you should be close to what you'll do in the end of the month. So consider that. If you're reaching your goals, great. If you're exceeding them, that's even better. Next month, maybe you can incrementally go higher. I like to set a goal myself for increasing my sales and increasing my listings by 10% over the previous month. That's how I do it. No magical number there. And 10% sounds like it would be super easy, but it's not necessarily super easy, has been my experience. And the reason is because you set a goal, but of 10% higher. But if you keep doing the same amount of work that you've been doing, you're not likely to reach it. You might just get a better sell through that month between your platforms and what have you. But ultimately, you're going to need to put in more effort. You're going to need to probably have 10% more listings, which is also part of my goals. I'm on track to hit Amazon, no problem with 10% more listings. I'm not on track to hit eBay at this point. I'm definitely going to have to step it up. And a lot of that is because eBay is a more time-consuming platform to list on. We all know this. So, take that into account. If, Ronnie Hart, who is going to be on my show Monday night, don't miss Monday night, guys. Shameless plug here. Do not miss Monday night. Ronnie is amazing. He's got a wealth of knowledge about all kinds of things having to do with reselling. He's been doing this about 4 years. But clothing, Ronnie knows so many brands, it is just not even funny. If he hasn't sold it, he's probably known someone who sold it, knows about it. I mean, he just knows tons of brands. It's very rare. I send him a message and he goes, "Oh, I never heard of that." I mean, he usually has something to say about it no matter what. And he's a straight shooter. He definitely will tell like it is. But Ronnie told me early on, this was back many months ago, he said, "I try to increase my previous month's goals and my previous month's results by 5%. And when I heard that, I thought, 5%, man, that's not very much. And now that I'm doing it, I'm thinking, oh, that's more than you think. Because 5% probably requires 10% more effort, maybe even 15%, depending on your sell-through rate. So it's not as easy as you think. But you can do other things to achieve those goals. Fun Stuff says, "I always set my goal for the dollar amount I used to make on eBay, but I can't seem to get there anymore. Seems futile." Okay, well, Fun Stuff, here's the question for you. What are your listings like? Are you pricing correctly? Are you getting full value for your listings? Are you looking for the slow dime versus the fast nickel? And there's nothing wrong with either approach. I don't know if Chad's still on here, but Chad's all about the fast nickel. He wants to turn and burn, get those items sold quickly. So check out your pricing, Fun Stuff, if you haven't done that. And the second thing is, are you increasing the amount of listings you sell? I mean, think about this. My goal, one of the goals I have for eBay is to sell 1% of all my listings each day. Now, that doesn't sound like much, but basically that means you're going to sell 30% of your inventory every month. So theoretically, you would turn over your entire inventory every 3 months, roughly. It's not going to work out that way, but I think it's a decent goal to shoot for. So think about, setting that. So yes, I increased listings. I'm almost to 1,000. Okay. And she says, "My ROI is fantastic, but it's just not enough income." Okay, well, consider selling higher priced items. You're going to make probably a lower return on investment with higher priced items and by that, I mean items that you have to spend more to buy, but you can sell for more. Your return on investment may go down, but your actual dollars you make will go up. A 40% return investment on an item that's going to sell for $100 is $40. A 50% return on investment for an item that's going to sell for $10 is only $5. Yeah, you're making more ROI on the $10 one, but you're making a lot more dollars on the $100 one. So I don't know what you're selling, but I would think about that. I'd think about, maybe adjust what you're selling and sell higher priced items. Might be one way. Obviously, the number of listings is another. That's the rub. I don't have the income to put in to buy higher priced items, if that makes sense. It does. Maybe instead of buying 2 lower priced items, you save your capital and buy 1 higher. Clothing mostly. One thing you could do, Fun Stuff, is look to find, I don't know where you're getting your clothing, but if you're like most clothing resellers, you're probably getting it at thrift stores. Maybe check out the department stores around you, if you have some around you, the retailers, and try to find items that have been slashed on clearance. I'm talking, 70% off usually or more if you can, and see if you can make some extra bucks there on new items. Those are going to sell for more money just by default. New items in general, people are going to pay more for new items. They expect, you're not gonna have to deal with issues with those. Yeah, you're gonna pay more for them. I have a Nordstrom rack near me that's really good. And I definitely pay more per item, no question, but when you can get $20 True Religions sometimes, you can flip them for 80, 100. And she says, that's how I started retail items. I would investigate that, maybe try to branch out, find some other places you haven't found. I mean, the used is great too. Don't get me wrong. You can get tremendous ROI on used clothing, but it's a little harder to find. You're not going to walk into a Goodwill or a Savers and just find these $5 items that you can flip for 50, 75 bucks all day long. I mean, you will find some, don't get me wrong, but you're just not going to find enough of them, I don't think, to sustain your business. Unless you're Ronnie Hart, again, who will be on Monday night. And Ronnie finds them like nobody's business. But Ronnie has a huge repertoire of brands and items he can draw from. He lives in a part of the country where a lot of that clothing is found as well, like a little bit higher end. And he is able to find these higher dollar brands just, amazingly quickly. I usually make $1,000 for every $100 I spend. Is that decent? I'm assuming you mean 1,000 before your cost of goods is taken out and your selling cost. Sure, a 10x on your money, that's tremendous. I mean, you should be happy with that. You should be ecstatic with that. If you're making 10x, even just your gross sales, that is unbelievable. You absolutely should be happy with that. I don't know that it's going to get, I don't even know that that's sustainable in clothing. I mean, that's amazing if you can sustain it. That's really high. So you're doing great. You either just need more items or you need to remember this fun stuff. It takes you just as long to source a $5 item that'll sell for 20 as it does to a $50 item that'll sell for 90 or a $10 item that'll sell for 50. The difference is you're going to get more dollars out of the amount of time you spent. Remember, time is the one component here that's always the variable you can never get more of. So you just need to think about how are you going to spend your time to get more dollars for the amount of time you spent. What can you do to be more efficient in your sourcing? What can you do to find items that you can get more dollars out of? I mean, yeah, if you're getting a 10x on your money, that's great. But if you're buying $1 items to get and selling them for $10, yeah, that's still a 10x and it's great, but you've got to turn a lot of them to really make any serious income, if that makes any sense. On the other hand, if you were buying $10 items and turning them to $100 items, 90 bucks profit each, that's amazing. I mean, you don't need that many of those to make a lot of income. If you sold 100 of those items a month, which is not that hard to do on eBay, especially if you get 1,000 listings, if you're selling $100 items that you spent, just $1,000 for, you're grossing 9,000 bucks. I mean, that's great. But as far as, what you're buying and so on, you've got, there's not like a silver bullet for this stuff. You got to look at every part of your business fund. I think that's the key. Look at every part of your listings, your photos, your descriptions, your shipping policies, what you're buying, how you're pricing, the format you're using, what sort of brands you're getting, what condition they're in. All these things are part of it. All these things are part of it. It's probably not just one thing that you can point to and say, that's the only reason I'm not doing better than I thought. Ronnie on Monday night, he is a full-time reseller and his wife works with him. Excuse me. And they support themselves with reselling. And Ronnie does 5 figures every month, primarily from eBay. So he's a big seller. And I'll let him talk more about that. But he can probably speak even better to, I'm more of a volume seller on eBay. I'm selling a lower dollar item, specifically jeans. So I can't speak to this. I mean, your 10X fun stuff is amazing. I'm so jealous. I wish jeans were 10X. I'd be rolling. Jeans are more like 4X, maybe 5 at the outside. But he could probably speak to, how do you get these higher end brands? How do you squeeze out more profit out of each item? How do you find that perfect balance of return on investment for, what you're selling and so on? And getting your capital in and out of eBay quick. And Ronnie sells other things too. Ronnie recently sold a frying pan on there he found that I think he paid $75 for, which you're probably thinking, man, that's a lot. But I think he sold it for $1,300. If you can imagine a frying pan. And I believe it was like a Lodge from way back when. And those do go for good money, but that's a great flip. He's definitely got an eye for finding things like that, but he's a great resource for, figuring out things that will go for, the Griswold pan. Griswold, that's right. She's right. It's Griswold, not Lodge. He's got an eye for it, but he's used that eye to figure out good opportunities for clothing too, which is something you guys can all take some lessons from. And I do. I mean, Ronnie is literally, I said it in the intro for his Monday night, Ronnie is literally a mentor to me. I mean, I got started watching, I think I got started watching Steve Rakin's videos, like a lot of us have who sell clothing. But Ronnie was someone I found very quickly after that. I'm not even sure how I found him, but I just realized like this guy is very no nonsense. I mean, Steve Rakin is a great motivator. He definitely, can find ways to turn a bad situation into a good one, and stays incredibly positive. And I've definitely learned a lot from him in that. Ronnie has this different approach. He's like nuts and bolts. Like, okay, well, if you go out and you find these brands and these types of items and these types of sizes and, they're in this type of condition, you're going to make great money on it. So, it's just a little slightly different approach. He's just very commonsensical about it, I guess is the best word. I mean, I'll let him explain a little better Monday night, and we are definitely going to talk some clothing Monday night for sure, since he is primarily a clothing reseller and I sell mainly that on eBay. He's also gotten in Amazon as well, Ronnie, so he can give us an update on how that's going for him. Greener Pasture says, I love Steve Rakin's optimism. Yes, that Steve is very optimistic, and that's putting it mildly. Fashion Outlook says, I learned more from Picking Profits. Yeah, it's Andrew, right? I've watched Andrew's videos as well and gotten a lot out of him. Andrew does sell clothing. He sells like blazers and high-end stuff like that, I believe. But he also sells a lot of books and CDs. He does a tremendous amount of bulk. I think Andrew Picking Profits said that he had 18,000 book listings on Amazon. Just to show you, what it's like, or what you can do with it. So Andrew Picking Profits, another person I subscribe to. He hasn't put out a video in a while, so I don't know what's going on with him. He's probably just busy, honestly. But he does some serious bulk between books and CDs and things like that, as well as some clothing as well. Update on his 2,000 CDs in Amazon, Ronnie. I know Ronnie's done at least one of those videos, so if I can remember, let's remember to ask him about that Monday night and let him know. And I know he sold quite a few of them. Just like, I've had success with the 3,000 books and just a small. I mean, it takes a while to sell these sorts of things. They don't sell overnight. They're not super high or super low ranks and move super quickly. D Skinner says Ronnie over Rakin. Okay, Ronnie and Rakin are friends, so. There's no controversy between them. They have helped each other out. They've been on each other's show before, and I know they still correspond. They're from the same part of the country, the Northeast, and they're still good friends as far as I know. And they're good guys. They like to help people and they like to put out good content. And I think they both do a super job of it. And they've both been mentors, both afar and close to me. I've had several conversations with Steve as well. And I know Steve, he reached out to me after we did the jeans video on Walking Pickers channel a couple weeks ago. And Rakin wants to do a collaborative video on clothing at some point because he's gotten back into clothing on eBay. So he and I got to figure out what that's going to look like. And hopefully that'll be in the near future as well. Greener Pasture says, I like selling books. Returns aren't as good as they used to be. Returns aren't as good as they used to be, though. What do you mean by that, Greener Pastures? I'm not sure what that means. Returns aren't as good as they used to be. I like both Ronnie and Rakin. They both have a lot to offer. Great guys. Absolutely. Totally agree with that. Guys, that's great. There's a great point out of what Greener Pastures just said. You can learn stuff from anyone. Even people you don't necessarily agree with, that's sometimes the people you learn the most from. D Skinner says just video preference. Yeah, sure. That's why there's so many people out here in the YouTubeosphere. Is that a word? I don't think it is, but it should be. I just made it one. The YouTubeosphere has room for lots of different resellers, lots of different personalities and approaches. And, you don't have, that's the great thing about it. You don't have to choose. You've got all of us out here who are, we're all doing it a little bit differently. And there's nothing wrong with that. You can learn from everyone. I watch lots of different people each week. There's a great tip for you guys too. Try to spend a good amount of time each day if you can. I would. And watch someone who's educational and you're going to learn something from. Now, when I say that, what I mean by that is don't spend all your time watching haul videos. Oh, look, I went to Goodwill and I'm going to make $500 on all this crap I just bought. Great. But what does that really teach you? Not a lot. Are you likely to go and find those exact items that person found? No, you're not. Could you find similar items? Sure. And knowing brands and things like that. But videos that talk about mindset, videos that talk about tools that will help your business, videos that talk about processes and how to become more efficient as a seller, videos that talk about the changes that happen on Amazon, eBay, Bonanza, and Mercari, all these different platforms, those are very useful. And videos that inspire you. They have an inspiring message and, because who wants to watch somebody who just I always think, wouldn't it be funny if all the people who complain on all the Facebook groups and so on started making videos on their YouTube channel and they just complained and moaned about everything. I think they'd have an audience, strangely enough, but it wouldn't be me. I wouldn't be one of them. But man, there are some of those people out there. I just don't know why they want to live in that world. It's like they have their own little reality. Greener Pasture says, I like selling books. Return on is good. The profits with books aren't as good now as they were in the past. Yeah, I get that, Greener, but there are still amazing profits out there. I sold that estate sale book just recently. I don't know if I talked about it in a video, but it was, I think I did. It was a book I found in an estate sale for $1 that was a medical book. It's sort of like a textbook, but more like a reference book, and sold for $225 on Amazon. Now, are you going to find tons of those? No, but you don't have to find many of them. I'd be happy. I'd be ecstatic if I found one of those a week. That probably, after fees, that adds like probably $6,000 to $7,000 a year to your bottom line. The return on investment for books is just amazing, and you're right that most books are not going to be a huge return. So you can make up for that with volume. Books are easy to process. Books are easy to put in a box. Books are easy to label. Books are easy to ship into Amazon. And they're easy to store. If you want to do merchant fulfilled, you could, but they're all those things. And yes, there's a huge chunk of books out there. They're the so-called penny books that go for a penny and $3.99 shipping. Just avoid them, and books also, and we're going to be talking more about this in the coming weeks and months, because I got a lot of exciting changes that are going to happen here. But books are also a great way you can outsource part of your business. I mean, you could have someone sourcing books for you and pay them a really good wage and still make good money on the books. And that takes one of the bottlenecks out of your business. Like, because, sourcing is tricky for all of us, right? It's just time. It takes time. And it takes a lot of time to go through books. I mean, going through 1,000 books is going to take you a while. But, that's something you can outsource. It's a little bit hard to outsource clothing, for instance. It's harder for me to think about a way I could outsource jeans and say, hey, person so-and-so, for every pair of jeans you bring me each week, I'll pay you $1. And, but they got to get the right brands, the right size. They've got to be in good condition. They can't miss things. I mean, there are ways to do it, but it's just tricky. Yes, I like to sell books for all the reasons you've listed. Cool. I try books. I just can't get into it. Understandable, fun stuff. I mean, all I can say about that is with all your items, I mean, some people will disagree, but I don't get passionate about items that I buy. They're just a means to an end. So with books, I'm like, oh, there's a book and man, it's a cool book. And I'd really like to read this book. Or I can sell this book and make $20. I'm going to sell the book. It's just don't get dispassionate, be dispassionate about them and just treat them as a source of revenue, because that's what they are. Goodwill says they scan books, but I still find good books. Yeah, that's just a lie from Goodwill if they're saying that. First of all, as many there are a few booksellers out there, guys, who make $1 million a year in book sales or more. They will tell you thrift stores and so on cannot handle all the books they get. Imagine Goodwill. The Goodwills around me say their goal is to get every item to the floor in 15 minutes upon arrival. Okay, that doesn't happen. Let's just get real. But if it did, how in the world would they scan them? Scan them for what? And to sell where? They're going to mark them up? I mean, books are almost never marked up in the Goodwills that I'm in. Virtually never. Same thing with CDs. Same things with DVDs. Occasionally a DVD set will be. They just don't have the time and manpower to do that. I mean, they would find the same thing we do. You scan 100 books and you find maybe 3 or 4 that are worth selling for more. But how much time did you pay that person? How much money did you pay that person to spend that time to scan them? It just doesn't make any sense. D Skinner says, are you planning to hire employees to cover the tedious parts of your business? I am definitely looking to outsource, as Skinner says, the tedious parts of my business, because, I've been watching a lot of other people's videos and so on lately. And, one of the things that stuck with me is this whole idea that if you've got an hourly rate that's here, let's say you think your hourly rate's $50 an hour and you can hire someone to do something in your business, you can hire someone at $10 an hour to do that job, and to do it, even if they only do it 75% as good as you're still coming out way to the good, because every hour you do it, you're losing $40 an hour, because you could go do something else that impacts your business at a $50 an hour rate or even higher. So you really got to think about it that way. And I know a lot of you guys, you may not want to get bigger and bigger and bigger, but why limit yourself and say, oh, I only want to do $2,000 a month, or I want to only do $3,000 or whatever the total is. Why limit ourselves? You don't really know what you can do until you try. So absolutely, I'm looking to find ways to streamline my sourcing, streamline my listing process, all these things. I mean, I just think it makes mathematical sense. It takes some pressure off of me. I mean, yeah, you've got someone you've got to oversee and so on. But guess what, guys? If you do those things, if you spend all your time taking pictures for your Amazon business, you've got to oversee yourself. You're still going to make mistakes, even though you're got a lot of buy-in to it. And while you're doing it, you're not going out doing the things that could be, really making a high hourly rate for yourself. I mean, this is all about time. It's all about what can you spend your time best on. And I just find that, some of these things I do in my business now, and I'm going, man, why am I not outsourcing this? Why am I not I was thinking about today, I'm working on, just to give you guys a quick insight, I'm working on a website. I actually registered a domain today. Not going to tell you what it is yet. That's still a secret. But, I started thinking about it. Man, I need to develop this website, and I wanted to do this, and I want to have this element and so on. And I thought, am I really going to spend all this time learning how to develop this website, or am I just going to bite the bullet and pay somebody to develop it for me? Because you think, well, it's not money out of my pocket if I go develop it, but it is money out of your pocket, because that's money, that's time you could be spent earning money for your business. And instead, you're spending your own time instead of your money, to do it. And plus, I don't have the expertise that someone who is professional. Now, granted, I'm not going to go spend a tremendous amount of money, but, I don't know. So you just got to think about that. Think about ways to outsource the parts of your business that, just make sense to outsource, either but due to someone else has got more experience than you, they can be more efficient at it, they're going to be more competent, or you're going to, it's just not what you're good at. So it just doesn't really help your bottom line, your hourly rate. There is an there's an eBay store named Thrift Books with major feedback. Also, many Goodwill stores on eBay. Yeah, some of them do sell. You're right. And I just think, here's the problem. Play it out to the end. And I talked about this in an earlier video. If Goodwill was to really make a push for the online model, they really want to make a push to start putting their stuff online, they could do that. But here's the problem with that. They're not set up that way. And the majority of their inventory is not eBay or Amazon ready. Now, what I mean by that is it hasn't been pre-screened for damages. It hasn't been pre-screened for excessive wear. It hasn't been pre-screened for saleability. None of these things. I mean, they operate retail stores, several thousand of them actually in the United States. So they have a huge investment in real estate. They have a huge investment in their sales force. It's hard to imagine them with a different model at this point. I mean, they would have to hire a lot more people on the back end, bringing stuff in and so on, and listing, taking photos, shipping things off. They do Amazon FBA, which would be the way to do it in their case. And they're going to hurt their retail store business in doing that. I mean, they could do it. Sure, they could do it. But it would require a massive shift in their focus. And it would also require, this is going to sound horrible to say, it also require their sales force to become more professional. I don't know if professional is the word, maybe more competent. They would need additional training. Most of the employees that I run into in these stores, and maybe you guys have a different experience, I don't know. Most of the employees I run into these stores, they aren't exactly the most competent, efficient employees. There's not a lot of buy-in on their part, I think, to what they're doing. And, that's understandable. But, you're really going to put these people in charge of running a multi-million-dollar online business? Maybe. I just don't think it would work. And I don't think they have any vested interest in doing it. What do they get out of it? Do they squeeze a few more dollars out of some items? And let's be honest. I mean, if you went through an entire Goodwill, I don't know how big the stores are where you're at, but I would guess a Goodwill, like I have one that's just literally 2 minutes from me. I can literally drive to in 2 minutes. It probably has somewhere in the neighborhood of 20,000 items. I'm guessing somewhere in that neighborhood any given time, which is nothing special, maybe 25,000 even. But I would guess of all those 25,000 items, I'd be surprised if 20% of them were Amazon or eBay saleable for various reasons. Now, you could sell more of them, but you're just not going to make a lot of profit on it, and it's a lot of trouble, and you're still going to have to store it somewhere. You can't sell used clothing, for instance, on Amazon. Most of what Goodwill has is clothing. Where would they keep it? Are they going to just start putting it in a huge warehouse somewhere, they could, but that's going to need an organization system. If they're going to sell on eBay, they're going to have to come up with an inventory system, places to keep it everywhere. I mean, somebody said to me, oh, there's 100,000 items on, listed on from Goodwill on Amazon and eBay. That is nothing. That's like 4 stores worth of merchandise, and they have like 3,000 stores. That's nothing. That's a drop in the bucket. That works out to just a few dozen items per store. They could move towards the online model. I just don't see it happening anytime soon. And if they do, they do. And let's not forget, Goodwill does not get only donations. They also buy items. They buy some of their inventory. They buy pallet pulls and shelf pulls and pallets, things like that. So, it's not, they got to make more on those than they do the donated items. Donated items are free. You can sell a pair of jeans for $4.99 when you got it for free. No problem. If you paid $2 for it, you can't sell it for $4.99 and make any money on it. You're gonna have to sell it for probably like $8.99 or $10.99 or $9.99, somewhere in that range. So I wouldn't worry about that. If it happens, it happens. That's why you always got to keep other sources of supply in your arsenal. Always keep diversifying your income streams and all those good things. So yeah, probably less than 20%. D Skinner says, Goodwill, not stupid. Any foot traffic, I doubt they'll go 100% online. Yeah, it's just not going to happen anytime soon, guys. That would require a massive change in their business model. And they've got all that real estate. They would have to shed. They could probably keep a retail footprint in most cities, I'm sure, but they would literally end up closing stores. The Goodwill, the Goodwill, the bad will they would get from putting all these people out of work they previously just employed, which is a big thing with Goodwill, right? It's like putting people to work. They would have to lay off big chunks of their sales force. There's no way. I don't know what the average staff size is of a Goodwill, but I'm going to guess it's probably somewhere around 25 or 30 people, maybe somewhere in that range, maybe a little more at Christmas time. They would have to lay off probably 40% of them. There just wouldn't be enough work for them if they started shifting massive amounts of their product to online. And by massive, massive, they would have to shift like 60, 75% of it to online. Again, I could see it. They could do it. But it would require a massive overhaul of their business model and so on. And layoffs for sure. There's no way they could keep that. And a lot of retraining. They would have to spend a good chunk of cash to do it. Just the retraining, retiring real estate, all those things. So I don't know. Can't stay up at night worrying about what might happen, guys. Monsters under the bed, right? All right. Well, I've been online, I think, for about 40 minutes now. So that's a pretty good time. Pretty good length. I hope you guys enjoyed this little live vlog. We kind of went a lot of different topics, and I really appreciate the chat you guys gave me. There, of course, will be links to like this video and subscribe, here on the channel if you like, and so on. That would be awesome. Don't forget, our 1,000 subscriber giveaway is coming to a close. I think I'm 15 away now. If my numbers are right here. Let's see if any of that changed. And I am still 15. So I need 15 people, guys. And we'll give away some coaching time. And I hope you guys got something out of this. I had a lot of fun doing it. And I'm going to try to make it more of a regular thing, at least maybe through the week. Maybe not on the weekends, but throughout the week, I'll try to make more of these live vlogs. And I appreciate everyone's comments and everybody participating. So go out there and kill it today, guys. Don't let anything stop you. Anything bad that happens is just a speed bump on the way to the next good thing. So don't let it even phase you. Let it roll right off your back. All right, guys. Take care, and I'll see you all real soon. Monday night, 9 o'clock. Don't forget, Ronnie Hart, the man, the myth, the legend. Thanks, guys.